Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Welcome into a frozen Indiana sports beat. Jim Coyle here, Justin Kalen high atop the frozen crew chief's box.
That's right.
It is a winter wonderland out there, folks. I'm not sure where you are, but hope you're toasty. Man.
Easier said than done.
It is a little rough out there. I'm not sure where what it's like around the rest of the part of the state, but I know in the southwest part of Indiana, blanket of ice. Trees down everywhere. Be careful. The roads aren't too bad, though, actually. The roads are fine.
Yeah.
It's the other part. There's a lot of electricity out. My abode is one of those. Thank goodness for cell phones. It got me up after a lovely 2 hours of sleep after that game last night at Assembly Hall. A beatdown that Indiana put on Marquette. We're going to talk about that and a lot more. Terry Hutchins on the show today. Let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your headlines for this Thursday, November 15th, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. First upset of the college basketball season sees Radford defeat Notre Dame 63-60 last night. LeBron James passes Wilt Chamberlain on the scoring list. He's now 5th all-time. And Blake Snell from the Rays in the American League and Jacob deGrom from the Mets and the National League win their first Cy Young Awards of their young careers. Those are your headlines, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
Well, if you're up with us, let's make sure you hit us up on the text line. Let us know what you thought about last night's game.
Lots of takes from it. A lot to take away from that game.
502-414-1450. We'll be talking about it. What did I say Monday, 2 days before that game? What did I say was going to happen?
You said a 20-point win. You sold them short. It was 23.
I didn't say 20 how many. I said a 20-point win. I didn't say a 20-point exactly. I'm taking that one to the bank, baby.
Yeah, no, you were all over it. I've got to admit. And that's one of the first things I wanted to do when we got in here this morning was to tell you, Jim, you were right. And I should have believed. But I never thought in a million years that Indiana would come out with their heads on fire like they did.
Well, it's not like I could say, I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Right.
No,
Lucky, yes.
But the reason I took that take is because defense, man. It's all about defense, and Marquette's a good shooting team, but there was no way in hell Archie was going to let a team come in there at their first test and them not get it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they got it. They offensively, that was crisp.
Yeah.
63.6% overall field goal shooting for Indiana, the highest mark in the Archie era. They were 35 of 55. They only missed 20 shots out of 55 shots.
It's incredible. Granted, a lot of them were in close, but actually not really. They took 23s out of 55, so there goes that.
And they hit 45% from three.
Yeah.
9 of 20. Led by Evan Fitzner, 4 of 4. Do you also remember back at the beginning of the season when I said Evan Fitzner was going to be an X factor for this team?
You know, the second thing I wanted to do when we got in here today was apologize to you for being 100% wrong on Evan Fitzner. My goodness, that guy can shoot the rock.
Telling you, man, he was 6 of 7 overall from the field. 4 of 4 behind the three-point line. That's efficiency.
Yeah.
He scored 16 points in 18 minutes.
And it's not only just the three-point game with Evan Fitzner. I'm very impressed with his inside game. He goes to that inside, and he switches hands, uses his left hand when he goes inside. It's a thing of beauty.
He's very deft with that.
You cannot block a 6'11 guy throwing up a floater with his opposite hand.
And then the next time down court, he's going to stand out there on the wing and pop a three down. I mean, he's a weapon. That's why I was trying to say, do you remember that Joker? His first name was Joel. Anyway, on Facebook, if Evan Fitzner plays more than 5 minutes, I'm gonna be so pissed off that I'm gonna throw a brick at the TV or something. So it was some fan that was just acting like Fitzner was trash, and if he's playing 5 minutes, the season's gonna be ruined. I'm like, I don't care who plays how many minutes if they're winning. But
well, and how about Evan Fitzner? He's averaging over 10 points a game now. Who would have thought that would be the case coming in?
me.
You thought he would average 10 plus a game?
I didn't know, but I mean, who said who would have? Why would have? I mean, I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
The dude shoots threes and plays inside.
I'm wondering how long into this season it's going to take me to not be shocked when Evan Fitzner plays well. And I posted on Twitter last night, I'm never going to get tired of tweeting about him during a game. I mean, it's so impressive to watch.
And I don't think he's going to average 10 points for the year, but I mean, he probably made like 8. It depends. The thing is, they're down. They don't have 4 guys. There are 4 guys that aren't playing.
Yeah.
Who's the 4th? You got Jerome Hunter, Race Thompson, Devontae Green. Who am I missing? Oh, Zach McRoberts.
Yeah, McRoberts, yeah.
All 4 of them will be out probably for the month of November.
I mean, when you can win without those 4 guys that you thought were going to be an integral part of this team.
No. They did not win.
Smash.
They dominated.
Yeah. I mean, that's an impressive thing for Indiana. If they can continue to win without those guys and then bring them back into the fold, my goodness.
They dominated the number 24 team in the country. Let me repeat that. With some good players. The Hauser brothers and Marcus Howard, we talked about his shooting prowess, shut down. I mean, he had 18 points, but a lot of that was trash buckets. He was held 1 of 5 shooting behind the three-point stripe. He was 6 of 14 overall, but like I said, a lot of his points came in trash time, man. The Hauser brothers both with 18 points. Indiana, 5 guys in double figures, led by Romeo Langford, 22. Romeo 8 of 15 on the night. The dude, he just scores. Now his 3-point shooting is really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, for the season, I mean, it's
got too much mustard on all of his shots.
He's 1 of 5 from 3 last night. Maybe you need to ease up on shooting the threes.
Maybe.
I mean, I think that as a team they need to ease up on shooting the threes, but certain people are not hitting right now, so just ease up. But Romeo can score in so many different ways. Off the dribble, you're not going to stop him. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
It's tough to say, though, that they should stop shooting threes when they shot 45% last
Well,
night.
I'm just certain people are not hitting very well.
How about Romeo showing some emotion on that layup?
I like when he get the high five to
the fan.
That was
awesome.
great. That was awesome. Not just emotion, just this cool interaction. That was pretty fun.
That's something you don't really expect from Romeo, but
not
it's cool
from
to
a
see.
freshman especially.
Yeah.
But and how about the freshman? You cannot talk about Rob Finney enough. The dude is just he just does whatever's needed.
Yeah.
How about your point guard who's running the offense? He gets you eight assists. That's pretty high.
Yep.
Do you know how many assists Marquette had as a team?
I do because I'm looking at it.
8.
But, yeah.
Rob Finney has same number of assists as Marquette did as a team. Oh, and he also added 12 points. A little double-figure scoring there on 5 of 7 shooting.
Yeah, Finney's been a lot of fun for me to watch. I mean, I'll say it many times. I've said it many times in the past. He plays under control, lets the game come to him, gets his teammates involved. He is the exact type of player you want at point guard.
He certainly is. He certainly is. Now they need to get these guys back that are hurt. The one that don't know what any of the injuries are. They don't really discuss them. But Jerome Hunter, his is a little bit of a mystery. I'm not sure that they know what is going on with him. It's a leg injury is all we know, but they don't seem like they have a diagnosis of what he's dealing with. And that sucks. He could end up being lost for the year.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't
know.
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
And Archie
not.
said last night after the game, they'll find out more today when he meets with the doctor. But yeah, that would be a real shame because Jerome Hunter had a lot of people looking forward to seeing him play this year.
Well,
He's
we'll
getting
see.
a lot
Maybe
of
we'll-
Romeo
I mean, like I said,
comparisons.
that's just a guess. So.
Yeah. We'll
Race
see.
Thompson, he's another one. But it's going to be very interesting. They need the guys back for depth, but that 8-man rotation last night, pretty crisp.
Yeah.
Guarantee you, Marquette said, what? And how about the question was, what is Indiana going to do with these three-point shooters from Marquette? Oh, my gosh, they can't. They're guard the three-point. Yeah, 5 of 23 from Marquette for 21% from behind the stripe. Nothing came easy for Marquette. Right off the bat, score was 19-4. And that never changed.
Their only lead was 2-0 on a Marcus Howard bucket.
Yeah, that lasted,
16 seconds.
yeah, maybe. Not very long. Indiana's biggest lead was 28 points at one point in the second half with 3:03 to go.
Truthfully, the pessimistic part of me thought that the shooting of the Hauser brothers, because they can shoot the ball, I thought that was maybe had a shot to get Marquette back in the game, but Indiana, like you said, defensively just so stout.
Like a blanket, like a frozen blanket.
Except for if there is one knock I can have on Evan Fitzner, it's got to be defensively. Whether it was inside, whether it was out on the perimeter, somewhat of a liability defensively. But I think you can live with that when you've got
How
the talent
so?
that Indiana does. Well, he had those couple of threes. He got pumped.
He got in
faked
foul
out
trouble.
on. He did get in foul trouble.
And I'll tell you, there was one. It was just a ticky-tack bull
Yeah.
crap, and they did the same thing on. It was a phantom foul. Deron Davis is on the outside of the free throw lane. A player is in the paint, and then the referee's on the other side. And the player actually comes through the paint and just has a quick shot, and Deron just kind of swiped at it. He didn't hit anything.
Yeah.
And they call a foul. I'm like, what are they doing? They just, it was just like they were calling phantom fouls.
Yeah.
Some of them.
There were a number of ticky-tack fouls last night, especially there was one on each team that I could think of specifically in the paint where it was Evan Fitzner one time and then Hauser on the other end. They both extended their arm, and that's why that was called. But, yeah, when you're trying to get positioned down low, I just don't think you can call that.
There's another time Deron Davis is in the paint, standing outside of the charge circle, whatever that's called.
Charge circle sounds good.
Hands straight up in the air. He just planted. Was already there just because he was there. I think it may have been Howard, who's kind of snaking through, and he's got a defender coming from his right, so he tries to squeeze through. And when he does, he hip checks Deron Davis as he goes up for the basket.
Foul.
They called Deron Davis for the foul.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's been there for 5 minutes. He's been just standing there like a tree.
Yeah, a little questionable. There was
Well,
some
it's just-
questionable calls.
And I'm only talking about it because it goes into how many fouls were there in the Louisville game the other night? Like 180?
I think 65.
Tom Izzo complaining about fouls the other night. You don't hear him complain a lot. I mean, have they been told to call as many fouls as you can call? Can we slow the game down and make it boring? Good crowd last night at Simon Scott Assembly
Yeah.
Hall. They were into it, man. They were into it.
Students showed up in full force.
Well, wait till bigger games. It's going to be something.
Yeah.
Deron Davis said it. This place is going to be rocking.
Yeah.
They know it. How's it going? Hope you're having a great day, if that's possible today. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, though. We appreciate it. Hit us up on the text line, 502-414-1450. Let us know what you thought of last night's game, questions, comments. We're going to be talking about it. What a performance by Indiana. And a lot of fans have been just moaning and moaning about not being ranked. Well, chill out. You're going to be ranked next week,
Definitely going to be right.
as long as they don't lose to Arkansas on Sunday.
Now, you're feeling good about that one, too, though, right?
Yeah.
I'm going with your judgment from now on.
That's,
you're right more times than not.
I still think that's going to be a double-digit win, but when I say double digits, I'm thinking more like
11.
10. 11, whatever, because it's a road game. That's good for 10 points for Arkansas.
Yeah.
It's the SEC against the Indiana, so there's another couple points. But I don't think you can prepare for this defense when you haven't seen it. It's smothering, and then offensively, they're long, man. Romeo, like Archie was talking about last night, Romeo comes in and goes up. He goes, he ain't just your normal. He's not small. He's going up higher than you are. But Romeo gets to the basket, and you can't stop him.
And it's not only does he get to the basket. Once he gets to the basket and he goes up to do his layup or finger roll, whatever he chooses to do, it seems like he's hanging in the air for forever. I mean, his hang time is more than any defender I've seen yet.
He's got some hops, man. Definitely got some hops.
Texting the show, 502-414-1450, that number again. Joker says the Hoosiers were very impressive last night on both sides of the ball, especially on offense, taking what the defense gives you.
Yeah, and again, I mentioned this a couple days ago, but when you think of defensive-minded teams, and there's no way you can't say Indiana is not defensive-minded. They're averaging giving up, I don't know, maybe 50 points a game this year. They give up 60 or 73 last night, the most they'd given up.
Yep.
But they scored 96. 96 points.
And it's worth mentioning that last night coming into that game, Marquette was only allowing 50 points a game. So pretty much destroyed that average.
And Indiana's got to be averaging 85 points a game. I can't remember.
Oh, no, it's more. They were
that's right.
They were averaging 92 going into last night.
Wow.
So they're probably close to 94, 95 points now.
They're averaging 90-something points a game right now.
Pretty impressive.
While holding teams to probably, what was that average?
It was at 45. So,
what?
Yeah, probably about 60.
It won't be that high.
Maybe not.
On one game, I don't think. Probably in the 50s.
Still, I mean, you've got a 40-point margin between your offensive and defensive output.
A 40-point difference. Now, that's not going to stay like that, but it's not going to drop all the way off either.
No.
Terry Hutchins on the program today, hopefully, if he's not frozen.
Did you talk to him about it last
I did not.
night?
Not a word. I was. It was a busy night. Trying to get out of there afterwards. Late. But yeah, what a performance! Hoosier Nation very happy with their performance last night. Now the world knows the secret is out.
Yep.
And then if Indiana goes down and does what they should in Fayetteville, take care of Arkansas, they're going to have a nice little beginning to a resume.
Yeah.
You're going to see the hype begin. Indiana Duke. They'll be talking about it.
Indiana's got a shot. I'll say it again. I know it sounds crazy. They've got a shot. Duke last night, by the way, extremely impressive.
How could they not be?
Right.
Who would they beat?
It was Eastern Michigan, but still, they were up close to 40 at halftime.
Well, how are you going to stop Godzilla?
You can't. Dude is so big.
He's like Godzilla.
He's
He's like Godzilla in a Japanese movie, just tearing buildings down.
Have you heard the stat that he would be, I think, the second heaviest player in the NBA today?
I heard that yesterday.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And still has a 45-inch vertical jump.
Yeah.
Come on.
Give him a summer with Cliff Marshall.
Come on. That's crazy.
Speaking of Cliff Marshall, he was fun to watch on the bench last night. He was going nuts.
I did not see him.
He was, every play it seemed like he was off the bench, fist pumping, all kinds of stuff.
I guess that's part of his job.
Hype man.
Hype it up. Hype it up. We've got a big show, as always. Terry Hutchins should be along to talk about this Indiana win last night, and we'll do the same. Keep the text coming. Indiana Sports Beat coming back right after this.
Somebody turn around.
This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes. This hour of Indiana Sports Beat is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. With hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
I could eat a little pizza, a burger, and drink a beer right now. I assure you.
At 6:30 in the morning?
Man, do you think my body has a clock anymore? Are you kidding me?
Guess not.
I've had 2 20-hour days this week. It's a rough one. I think it's all glamorous. Oh, it's so glamorous. Oh, you get to go to the games. Yeah. Oh, wow, what a big one last night. That's that'll get them on the map.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of funny. Everybody's been like Hoosier Nation's been up in arms. Why aren't we ranked? Why aren't we ranked? Well, because they hadn't done anything to get ranked. They were 16 and 15 last year, and you hadn't beaten anybody. Yeah. Now you've beaten somebody, and you showed the world when you did it.
Yeah.
You dominated them.
Go in on Sunday, do the same thing. Probably looking at a top 20 team.
I agree with that. Now, it's going to be a little tougher down in – this is going to be the first road trip for those guys, but we'll get on that in a little bit. But the coach for Marquette spoke with the media afterwards, of course. I didn't get to hear him because they do it at the same time, so I was in with Archie and listening to the players.
He had a lot of really good things to say about Indiana.
I can imagine.
Let's take a listen.
Indiana and Archie, they were fantastic tonight. We knew it was going to be a very difficult place to play. I've been in Assembly one other time during my basketball life, and it's one of the hardest places to play in the United States. And it's essential when you play in this building to get off to a great start. And we got off to opposite of a great start, and it kind of snowballed from there. They're a team that is at their best in transition. The primary ways they get in transition are turnovers and bad shots. And to start the game, I thought we had a majority of our offensive possessions that were either turnovers or bad shots. And so we gave them great life and great confidence to start the game. And we could never recover. We got it to 2 or 3 possessions. We got to 3-possession game twice in the first half, and when we did that, we didn't continue to do the things that got us to getting it back to a 3-possession game. We started taking bad shots, or we had careless turnovers. And against a team as good and as well coached as Indiana, that can't happen.
No, it cannot. It cannot. I could see early on that Howard, remember I talked about he was like a shark. Yeah, he was trying, but yeah, it wasn't working. No open shots, passing lanes clogged up.
Well, and that's the difference between this number 24 ranked Marquette team and an Indiana team is Howard doesn't have much around him. Yeah, the Hauser brothers are okay. Theo John played okay down low, but
they're picked to finish second in the Big East. So it's not like they're a good team.
For sure.
They were ranked 24th in the country. Indiana just made them look bad.
Yeah.
Indiana not exposed. Indiana's got such a deep rotation that all 8 guys, who's going to hurt you?
Right.
Just pick one.
Well, and that's kind of the point I was trying to make right there is the fact that Howard doesn't have anybody else to go to. I mean, give Marquette the talent that Indiana has, and they're going to be a damn good team too. I mean,
you can say that about anybody.
Right.
That makes no sense.
It makes sense.
No, it
makes
doesn't.
perfect sense. Howard doesn't have anybody around him.
He's got the Hauser brothers.
That's it.
You look at
a guy.
How many superstars does the team usually have?
What do you want me to say? 1?
No,
Probably usually 1 superstar.
How many teams go 8 deep? Not many teams.
Well, and that's with guys out still.
But the point is, it's not usual that this depth that Indiana has is kind of freaky. They're good 12 deep. Most teams don't have that.
Right.
That's not a normal thing.
But it's a talented 12 deep.
But if anybody had that, of course they'd be better. It doesn't really make sense to say that. It's course. Of course, if I had $1 million, I'd be a millionaire.
Would you share?
Of course I would. Of course.
A couple of texts of the show. Joker texted in 93-point average, giving up 55 points after 3 games. And then Coach Norman Dale will tell you that the goals are 10 foot high and the free throw line is 15 feet, just like our gym back home.
Yeah, well, I guarantee it looked like it was 30 feet with Indiana defending them last night. Because getting to that goal is a whole different story.
Sam also texted in and says, great win last night. Jim called it. 20-point win. Fitzner will definitely be the X factor this year.
And I think there's going to be other S factors. I mean, That's the thing because of these injuries. Hopefully we'll get to see Jerome, but don't know what he can do. Still don't know what Ray Thompson can do. Yeah. The man is still a mystery.
There are so many guys on this team that can step up on any given night and be that X factor, as you say. It's scary. I mean, I think overall, yeah, it's probably going to be Evan Fitzner for the season, but I think game in and game out, that's something that'll change.
The one thing I was talking to Ken Bykoff last night, and I mentioned that Devontae Green kind of reminds me of James Blackman a couple years ago.
Yeah, perfect. I can see it.
Remember when James Blackman got hurt and they got better defensively the whole time he was out? I get a little bit of that James Blackman feeling for Devontae Green. He seems to push things a little bit when he's in there, pushing shots that he doesn't need to take. Way too early in the shot clock, just kind of like, oh, I'm going to get mine kind of a thing. Yeah. We'll see how that plays out, but.
Well, I think defensively, though, Devontae Green's a lot better than James Blackman ever was.
Huge, yes.
So, I mean, Devontae Green's a guy you want in just for his defense alone.
No, he's a great player. Yeah. If as long as he can just play within the framework of the team, because 18 assists last night versus 8. 18. 8 of those by Rob Phinisee. Who do you think is going to be playing point guard?
Can I get some credit?
Absolutely.
Can you tell me I was right?
You were dead on. I didn't believe it. I didn't think that he could come in and do what he's doing, because a lot of people didn't believe that. He is impressing a lot of people, including Archie.
Absolutely.
Archie talked about him in depth last night. Hopefully we can find that clip. He was really singing. Of course, he was talking about everybody in a positive way, but in regards to Rob Phinisee, he called him a stud. Yeah. He said he's a stud. What can I say? He goes, there's just not a lot more I can say.
Yeah, and Archie was asked a question about initially Phinisee's defense on Marcus Howard, because it was Phinisee and Al Durham starting it out on Marcus Howard. They both did a phenomenal job.
Al Durham had a great night, too. I mean, he was in double figures.
For sure.
And he played within the framework of the team.
Let's hear what Archie had to say on Phinisee.
Stud. I mean, he's a stud. There's not much to say. I mean, 26 minutes, 12 points, 8 assists, 1 turnover. And he guarded arguably maybe the player of the year in the Big East for most of the game and held his own. Not that he's perfect, but I tell you, I haven't been around a young guard in a long time that has that type of quiet calmness, that's tough, that's smart. Once he gets more experience under his belt, obviously he has a very bright future, but he's a terrific teammate. I mean, he's everything that we knew when he recruited. It was just hard to imagine the sturdiness and his ability to be that strong and tough, early in his career. But some guys are gifted, and in some ways he's gifted in the way that every young player would love to have. Unbelievable feet, balance, strength, conditioning, and he's smart.
Greg? It cracks me up every time we have a clip. You can hear the writers. That's why I record it.
Less work later.
They're like little rats running all over the place.
Yeah, I heard that in a press conference earlier this week. You could tell the big moments in the press conference because that's when everybody started typing.
Indiana press cracks me up because it's how it's set up, I guess. But you get all the writers are on the front row. The rest of us knuckleheads are
peons get the back row.
Yeah, we're behind them. But he's going to be good this year, not next year. Right now. That's a stat line. I mean, that is a stat line. He played 26 minutes. He was 5 of 7 from the field. He hit a 3-pointer, 1 of 3.
I love his stroke from downtown.
8 assists. He had a couple rebounds. Juwan Morgan, very quiet, 13 and 8. 13 points, 8 rebounds.
He had a very quiet night, but coming out of the halftime break, Juwan Morgan was a huge piece of Indiana's basketball team. He was the fire that extended that lead coming out of the break. Marquette was trying to claw back in. Juwan Morgan said, it's not going to happen.
I don't know how many possessions they had, but they had 13 turnovers. I'm not thinking that's a high number.
No.
For as you can't just look at the number of turnovers in a game without knowing how many possessions there were.
Sure.
How fast the game was played. Because if you're in one of those Virginia, Wisconsin games that the score is 42-38 and you got 13 turnovers, that's a little more painful. But when the score is 96-73, lots of possessions up and down the court, the percentages, that's not a bad number. And I don't know how many of those came in the last 5-6 minutes of the game when the game was just done. Because that's generally what happens. You bring in the bench players and things can get sloppy. I don't know that happened last night, but both teams were very close in that regard. Marquette had, 12? 14 turnovers.
14, yeah.
But 5 of 23 from three-point for Marquette, 21%. Remember that IU or the Fort Wayne game last year?
Oh, yeah. We should stop bringing it up.
I will never forget it. I mean, I can still see in my mind guys out there on the perimeter 7 feet away from guys, but turning in circles and not like, what? Huh? Now it's like, man, it's like a mugging going on out there.
It's going to be fun to watch. No doubt.
I can't. Man, this kind of defense is fun to watch. But it produces this offense, this smothering, relentless defense. But that's another reason why Archie wants these guys back. He's going to run a lot of guys in there because they're going at it.
Yeah, I mean, the more guys you have at your disposal, the harder you can push it when you're in the game.
They are pushing it up hard on defense and then getting it out and going. Again, how much fun is that versus Virginia? $42 points a game. We walking the ball up the floor.
Yeah. It's like Virginia on steroids.
Like the old Dean Smith four corners offense. This is a fun offense.
Yeah.
Man, guys, high flying.
A couple texts in the show. JR texts in and says, I know Romeo has had good stats, but don't you think he is still trying to find his role?
No, I think his role has been defined. He is the scorer. If they need 2 points, I think right now you want you want the ball in his hands. Yeah. I know that's hard to say for a freshman. It's hard for me to say that about any freshman. But the dude scores, man. That's what he does. That's one of the posts I put last night. Romeo's doing what he does. Scores. He didn't shoot the ball very well from outside, but it didn't matter. He scored the ball. And you're not going to stop him. You may foul him, but he was hitting his free throws last night as well.
Yep, 5 of 7.
So, yeah, Romeo has found his role, I believe. He's out there floating around, gets the ball in his hands, and he takes him one-on-one. They can't stop him.
And maybe that's what it is about him seeming like he's still finding his role, is the fact that Romeo is so effortless. He's so smooth. It doesn't seem like he's doing anything special. So I can understand that, JR, how you would think he is still trying to find his role. But I'm with you, Jim. I think his role is established. Just go out there and score the basketball.
Well, also because he's been one for whatever he shot in on 3-point shooting each game. He's been about 1 for whatever, 1 for 5.
Well,
1 for 6.
He hadn't taken as many as he took last night in a game yet. Last night he was shooting.
There was one. He was 1 for like 4 or 5.
Yeah, one of the first games.
Yeah, but he scores the ball. He's going to score. He had 22 points last night. And he was 1 of 5 from 3-point land, but he still had 22 points.
And when you're a ball scorer like Romeo, you're okay with him taking 5 threes, right?
He can
take 6 if you want.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, water will find its level.
But my thought is, keep driving the ball. You're either scoring or they're fouling you. Because that does a couple things. Now you're putting pressure on them because you're drawing fouls, which is going to just eat away at them.
Well, and you saw that in the second half. Indiana was in the bonus with 11 minutes left in the second half.
Yeah, it was It was relentless, and they weren't ready for it. They were outmanned, outgunned. Indiana's just bigger, faster, stronger, and just relentless.
Joker texts in and says, to me, Rob Phinisee is the biggest surprise. For him as a point guard to come in and play as he has is huge. Guard play is so important.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, we knew Romeo was going to be Romeo. We thought, I didn't know, but it's not unexpected. It's not a surprise that Romeo's being Romeo. I got to be honest with you. I didn't think he would be the leading scorer for this team. But I did not know that he was going to be able to score as easily in college as he did in high school. Now, that's not true, I guess. Not as easily because he was scoring a lot more points. Yeah. But he had the ball in his hands 17. More.
Yeah.
So, but for the amount of time he has the ball in his hands, he's scoring about it like he did in high school. Because they can't stop him. He goes one-on-one with somebody, it's like, oh, it's over. Now, I'm not saying that guy's not going to come along that's a senior player for somebody who's a hell of a defender. It's going to make life rough for him in one of these Big Ten games or road games or whatever. But as of right now, that ain't what I've seen.
Well, I think that's a recipe you've got to be okay with. Hit up Romeo if you want. There's all kinds of other guys out there that'll hurt you.
That's the thing.
You can't concentrate on one guy.
And talk about Evan Fitzgerald being an X factor. I think he's going to be an X factor sometimes, because sometimes maybe they're going to have that right matchup that works in that other team's favor that really kind of shuts that down. But you got 10, 11 other dudes when they're healthy. 10, 11 other dudes that are just like, okay, here, give it to me, Romeo, give it to me. I'm going to slash and score. Oh, well, give it to Justin Smith. I'm just going to dominate, monster jam it.
With Fitzner especially, he actually drew a double team last night in the post, and he was able to find Juwan Morgan for a wide open bucket. I mean, that speaks to what we're talking about.
Exactly, and then that same thing's going to happen to Juwan Morgan or Justin Smith if they're they're not posting up, but the fact that he's drawing that attention, and you have to, because if you don't, he's just going to score from a foot away. He can score as easily from a foot away as he can from 26 feet away.
Isn't that crazy?
6'11". Dude's got a pro career waiting for him. Calling his name. Wow. And that's the thing I said all along is this about this Indiana team is a lot of different ways to beat you. A lot of different ways to cause other teams headaches. Pick your poison. Pick your poison. They're not a great three-point shooting team. They don't aspire to be. Archie says we don't aspire. That's not our game. We don't aspire to that. It's kind of unusual for an Indiana team. But this level of defense is unusual.
They may not aspire to that, but almost half their shots last night were threes. So say what you want, Coach.
20 of 55.
It's close to half.
40%.
Yeah.
That's about 35%, something like that. That's a lot. Yeah. I mean, not really a lot. It's a good balance, especially when you're hitting 45% of those.
I love it. Keep shooting them.
That's 27 points right there.
I'm a big proponent of the three-point shot.
There's 27 points on threes. 27. That's a good number. And, I'm looking forward to Arkansas. Hopefully we'll have Todd on tomorrow, Todd Leary, and we'll talk about that. Preview that game a little bit. But we'll preview that tomorrow. We're talking about the win today, and a good win it was. Dominating fashion by the Hoosiers, both ends of the floor. I mean, I know Archie would rather not give up 73 points, but I don't know what they were averaging coming in.
When you're scoring 96, I think it's okay.
It's because it's a much more. It's a game that lends itself to a little bit higher score on both ends. The over and under was 150.
Smashed that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I think Vegas is going to have to get a handle on Indiana. They're like, okay, we don't really know what. Well, they're
Is it? Maybe I should go back. Bet them while I can.
They're getting a better indication of it now.
Yeah.
What was the point spread? Originally 10, bet down to 5, somebody told me?
And Marquette was favored by 10?
No.
Oh. I was like, what? Indiana started out as 10?
Maybe. We can find that. I thought that's what somebody had said last night.
No, that's hard to believe.
I was like, what? But what cracked me up is that it was bet down to a 5-point game. I'm like, so it was bet down?
Doesn't make a lot of sense there.
Well, if that was the case, we'll have to find that, see what that spread was. But yeah, that's going to adjust some things. We've got plenty more coming back. We've got a lot to get to. Terry Hutchins on the show today. We've got more basketball to talk about. Hope to keep the texts coming. 502-414-1450. We'll keep talking about them. Questions, comments, thoughts, let us know. Back right after this with Indiana Sports Beat.
This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat.
Standing in the rain with his head hung low.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this frozen tundra Thursday. Sheet of ice out there across the state of Indiana. At least the southwestern part. Southwest. Got a text from Duke Energy. He asked me if my power's off. Text 1. I texted 1,000. Hell yes, it's off. It can't be any more off. The town is off.
You'll have to go straight back to Bloomington today.
Shouldn't have left. Shouldn't have left. Get us up on the text line, 502-414-1450. Plenty to talk about. Terry Hutchins, hopefully on the show today. Hopefully he's not frozen in. Also, I think we have Grant Asfath on today. Got so much going on.
Can't keep it track.
Can't keep track of it, though, man.
JR text in, 502-414-1450, that number once again. Said, is it much easier to do a morning show after watching an effort like this compared to a 9 p.m. Crean game?
Oh. It's always easier doing a show
after a win.
After a big win. Yeah. Always. But, yeah. Makes it a lot easier. Winning makes everything easier, man. Winning's the salve that soothes the soul.
Yep.
Absolutely. Grant Asfath on today. Talk a little bit of NBA action. Take a break from the Hoosier beatdown of Marquette last night. Terry Hutchins on as well from CNHI Newspapers. Of course, 20-year beat writer for the Hoosiers. But, yeah, what a big night for Indiana as they dominate the 24th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles, 96-73. There were some other games last night. How about Michigan, man? Michigan took on Villanova. Aren't they the defending champion?
Yeah, that was
actually a rematch of the national championship game, or was it?
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah.
Rematch of the national championship game last night, and talk about another beatdown. Number 18 Michigan thumps Villanova. Part of the Gavitt games. Nebraska thumped whoever they played in the Gavitt games.
Seton Hall, I believe.
Yes. How many games were there of Gavitt games were there last night?
I think just
those three?
Just those two. Or, yeah, just the three, count Indiana.
All three beatdowns by the Big Ten. But
and then you go to Tuesday, Wisconsin beat Xavier. The only loss from the Big Ten in the Gavitt games was Illinois against Georgetown.
That was a close game, 88-80.
And then you've got, of course, Creighton, Ohio State tonight, Penn State, DePaul. Those are the last two games. So Indiana's going to win the Gavitt game, or Big Ten, rather, is going to win the Gavitt games.
Not a shock there, but it's a shock. It's shocking how they're winning these games. You got Indiana. There was a couple of ranked teams last night taking a beatdown.
I was actually pretty disappointed by that Michigan-Villanova game. I had some dinner with a couple family members last night. I get home about 7:30, strap in, ready to watch that game.
I can see you strapping into a lazy boy. Got a strap across you. Got a helmet on.
Not moving.
Got that helmet on with the two beers on each side and the straws coming down.
Please get me one of those for Christmas. No, but I turned that game on, and it was Michigan was up by 20+. I was like, what the hell is happening? So not a good game.
Remember the Big Ten not being too good?
Yeah, that's all changed.
That's out the window. Nebraska is even good.
Yeah.
Who'd they thump last night? They thumped somebody.
It was Seton Hall.
Oh, that's right. What was that score?
1 moment, please.
It was a beatdown. I'm like, whoa.
I know it was somewhat close in the second half at one point, but then, Nebraska pulled away 80-57.
That's a pretty good 23-point win by the Cornhuskers.
Yeah. It's going to be one of those years in the Big Ten that the teams just continue to beat up on each other, I have a feeling.
Well,
which is every year, but.
Yeah, it's going to be, man, who's going to be good? How good's Ohio State going to be? I don't know that a lot's expected of them. But right now, Michigan State, Michigan, Indiana, Nebraska, definitely four of the top teams in the conference. But Wisconsin's going to be okay.
Wisconsin's going to be really good. With Ethan Happ and Brad Davidson.
I think that Purdue's going to be okay. They're way overrated right now.
I agree.
I think they're going to finish. I said this, and I'm saying it again. I don't see them making the NCAA tournament, and I want to say it now. So when it happens, I said that a long time ago.
And I'll give you credit.
I don't see that happening. We got to take a break, get back on track. We got more coming up right after this on Indiana Sports Beat. Aaron Asford, Terry Hutchins, Day 2.
This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes. This hour of Indiana Sports Beat is brought to you by Brooks Roofing. Brooks Roofing is an Indiana contractor with over a decade of service. Find Brooks Roofing at brooksroofingin.com. They're probably working in your neighborhood right now.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Jim Coyle is sitting here. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Lots to talk about. Nothing bigger than Indiana's huge win last night over Marquette. Let's get to the headlines first with Justin before we get to that.
All right, here are your headlines for this Thursday, November 15th, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. First upset of the college basketball season sees Radford defeat Notre Dame 63-60 last night. LeBron James passes Wilt Chamberlain on the all-time scoring list. He is now 5th all-time on that list. And Blake Snell, the Rays pitcher in the American League, and Jacob deGrom, the Mets pitcher in the National League, win their first Cy Young Awards of their young careers. Those are your headlines for this Thursday, November 15th, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
One upset last night. I think, doesn't Michigan destroying Villanova
and I
count as an upset?
I debated that, but I mean,
it's no Radford Notre Dame. I'll give you that.
If they're both top 25, I don't consider it an upset.
Villanova's the number 8 defending national champion.
That's a good point.
And they beat them down. They didn't win on a last-second tip-in.
2 upsets. How about that?
They beat their ass. Well, then again, if that's the case, then Indiana upset.
3 upsets.
But they were the
Indiana's
favorite.
a better team.
They were the favorite. Yeah, that was just a misnomer. That's because Indiana had not gotten love yet from the national press because everything's based on last year right now. Makes perfect sense. They hadn't shown anything yet. Now they have. They just introduced themselves. Hello, we're here.
Yep.
And they're going to get better. Great win last night by Indiana up at Simon Scott Assembly Hall as they knock off the 24th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles, 96-73. Behind 5 players in double figures, led, of course, by Romeo Langford's 22. He had a lot of help last night.
Yeah, he did.
Evan Fitzner showed exactly what he is capable of doing by hitting 6 of 7 shots from the field, 4 of 4 from behind the three-point line, as he knocked down 16 points in 18 minutes of play. Juwan Morgan, 13 points, 8 rebounds. Not a bad night for him. Al Durham, he played a lot. Al Durham played the most minutes last night, as a matter of fact, of anybody. Edging out, no, I take that back. He was 16 seconds less than Romeo. Romeo had the most minutes and the most points. But Al Durham with 13 points, 5 assists.
How about that starting lineup?
How about those 2 guards?
Yeah.
I mean, Romeo's a guard, but he's really just he's a combo, whatever you want to call him. He's a scorer. But Durham and Finney combined, 13 assists, 1 turnover. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. How fun was that starting lineup last night? I love Zach McRoberts, don't get me wrong.
I'm the same way, man. I'm so done. I'm like,
Al
man.
Durham in that lineup. Oh, my gosh.
Well, you're going to see 3 guards. I've said that before. Archie is going to be playing a lot of 3-guard sets. Now, I think that there's going to be some situational matchups where that's not the case, but he likes this type of setup, and with good reason. Worked pretty well.
Al Durham's shot was dropping, too.
Dude was hitting. He was 5 of 8 on the night. Of course, amazingly, the only reason Indiana shot so well from three-point land is because of Evan Fitzner. Because if you take him away, 1, 2, 3, 4, they were 4 of
5 of 16.
Yeah, that's what, 33%?
Less, yeah.
But, Evan Fitzner guided him there. But everyone else, 1-fers. Juwan Morgan, 1 for 3. Romeo, 1 for 5. Al Durham, 1 for 4. Fennessy, 1 for 3. Demezy was 1 of 1.
That's right.
Demezy and Evan Fitzner, 5 of 5, baby, from behind the stripe.
How much is this helping Demezy Anderson, all his injuries? He's going to be a pretty damn good player come the end of the year.
Yeah, he's getting a lot more experience.
Yeah.
He comes in and he gives valuable minutes, doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't try. He stays within himself. He doesn't try to push, which a lot of freshmen aren't smart enough to not do that. Well, these guys are. They have bought into the system, and it is working. I am going to be interested to see when Devontae Green comes back because he kind of reminds me of a James Blackman type. Yeah. What I mean by that is this team is in such good flow and chemistry and in sync. A few years back, James Blackman got hurt, and the minute he went out, they got better defensively. And that was just a statistical fact. You could see it, taste it, see it, smell it, and stat it. It was just a fact. I wonder if that's going to be a similar thing because Devontae gets a little, I don't want to say out of control, but a little
that's exactly
rambunctious.
That's exactly what it is, though.
A little rambunctious. A little Troy Williams-esque.
There you go. That's perfect. Perfect combination of Troy Williams and James Blackman.
Yeah. But a great defender, though.
Sure.
Very, very good defender. And if you can play defense, you can play on this team.
A couple texts in the show. Kevin texted in 502-414-1450, that number again. Says, at Villanova, and I think Nova was an 8-point favorite over Michigan. Correction, 6.5-point favorite. And Joker texts in the same thing. Nova was 6.5 favorite. And then with two true guards on the floor at 6'6", Romeo is more of a small forward.
Yeah, it's what I'm saying. I don't care what you call him. He's a scorer is what he is. I don't care what number you put on him. If you put the 3 on him, I don't care what you call him. If you call him a small forward, if you call him a shooting forward, I don't care what you call him because I know what he is. He's a scorer. He's the man, if you put the ball in his hands, something's going to happen. And it's more often than not going to be good.
And then one other text from Joker. Pretty good point here. This is something we'll have to keep an eye on this season, see if it stays like this. But how about this as a team balance of scoring per half for Indiana? Against Chicago State, 53 in the first half, 51 in the second half. Against Montana State, 43 and 37. Against Marquette, 47 and 49.
Yeah, I noticed that last night.
So not taking their foot off the gas pedal at all. Gotta love that.
Did you see my red marks underneath?
Well, there you go.
It was a very
That's
balanced.
kind of a crazy looking score sheet.
Yeah,
I heard they switched it up.
Yeah, most of the people in the press room are not happy.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. They don't like change.
It's a completely different setup.
It's got like different stats on there, right? Like plus minus.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Yeah. Oh, that's the plus minus when they're in and when they're out.
Right.
Yeah, it's not just that. You knew where the points was. You knew where this was and that was. Now it's all different. But who cares? That's third world problems, right? 63% shooting overall for Indiana last night. The highest in the Archie Miller era. It was funny when J.D. Campbell announced that in the middle of the press conference. Why he did it at the time, I don't know. But you can hear him. The 63.8% is the highest in the Archie Miller era, and Archie was like, really? Wow.
Yeah.
It broke the room up. Everybody starts laughing. But Archie had a lot to say last night.
Yeah, he was asked about offensively for this team. What was working last night? Let's see what he had to say.
The team.
Well, I think we were in transition quite a bit, and we were very unselfish. I think we had numbers, we shared the ball, we got guys open, and then there were some seams. I do think when we're on the run, we're harder to deal with because, we have guys that can put the ball on the floor. And, early on in the game, just in general, it was a fast-paced defense to offense. We had our moments where we were stagnant. We did not do a very good job of feeding the posts tonight. That's something I thought Marquette did a really good job of, is not allowing us to get it in. When we did get it in, I thought good things happened. But, just in general, offensively, if we're going to become a really good team, we have to be able to play from the paint out, not out and in.
The 63.6%.
You cut it short. If you'd let that play right there.
I didn't realize that's where it was.
I didn't either, but I heard him saying it. I heard JD talk. The 63 point. But yeah, Archie says, really? Wow. Yeah, he was being nice and praising Marquette. Marquette didn't stop Indiana from doing much at all. 18-8. They lead in assists. Indiana scored 50 points in the paint versus 32 for Marquette. So you kind of can't really say that they did a good job of keeping it out. You almost doubled their output. Half your points came from the paint, and you were 45% from 3-point. That's a lot.
I think that's probably going to be.
As a matter of fact, if you got 50 points in the paint, you add the 27 from the 3-point shooting. There's 77 of the 96 points.
I think it's going to be a common theme this year that Indiana holds opponents' points in the paint pretty low. I mean, they're so big. It's going to be hard for a lot of teams to score down there.
And Indiana's going to be a team that does a lot of damage in the paint rather than from the 3-point line, because it's not just Juwan Morgan and Justin Smith and Evan Fitzner we're talking about, or Deron Davis. A lot of that is Romeo driving, slashing, and scoring. I mean, 5 of his 8 shots, no more than that. He had made 8 shots from the field last night. 7 of those were from the paint, basically. So Indiana's going to make a living in the paint, but it's going to be in a myriad of different ways.
Yeah.
We've got to take a break. We've got lots coming up on the show yet. Grant Asfith, we're talking a little bit of NBA and the Pacers. Then Terry Hudson's will join us, and we'll get back to Indiana basketball. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat's coming right back.
Sometimes love don't feel like you make it hurt so good. I ain't talking no big deal.
This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area, or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle here on this Frozen Tundra Thursday. What was this, November 15th?
Yes, sir.
Man, halfway through the month. That means basketball, good basketball is coming, because when December hits, things get heated. Indiana plays Duke in 2 weeks from yesterday in Durham, North Carolina. They've got Arkansas this Sunday, following up a nice, tidy win last night over the 24th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. 96-73, a game that was never close except for the opening 60 seconds.
Yeah, it was 2-0.
Well, that was the opening 30 seconds. It was 2-0. That's as close as Marquette would get, because within minutes it would be 19-4. That's another thing about this Indiana team. They can score in bunches in a hurry.
Yep.
Now, shots are probably not always going to fall. You get on the road game up in Wisconsin and that barn, things are going to get a little rougher for them. That's the one thing these guys have not experienced yet, these freshmen, is life on the road, period. And they're going to get a big dose of it this Sunday when they go to Arkansas, Fayetteville, to take on the Razorbacks. And then 2 weeks from yesterday, like I said, they go to Durham, North Carolina to take on the number 1 seed in the East NBA region, the Duke Blue Devils. You weren't listening, were you?
I was listening.
I just said the number 1 seed in the East NBA region.
I missed that.
I think that they may be one of the top 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference of the NBA this year.
Behind?
The Celtics. You got to give the Celtics number 1.
I don't think Celtics are all that great.
Well, I'm just saying compared to Duke. It's still Duke. It's still college.
I think Duke might beat them.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I definitely know about that. No. But Duke's tough. I remember I saw them destroy Kentucky, and they destroyed Kentucky. I was like, who the hell's going to beat those guys? The Celtics?
I think a lot of people said around the country.
With good reason.
Yeah.
Mount Zion. It's like Kilimanjaro. Dude's a massive freak of nature.
Can we just take, please, NCAA, can we take the Louisville game and replace it for Kentucky? I mean, I'm all about playing Louisville.
Why are you asking the NCAA? It's
Not this
Kentucky
year.
that won't play.
Can you imagine Indiana, Kentucky this year? That's all I could think last night.
Well,
Give this
yeah.
team a crack at Kentucky.
Well, it would be great. But Kentucky won't play them.
No.
We're going to play in a neutral site. We're afraid to go back to Assembly Hall. We don't get our ass beat again. Oh, it's on. I've waited a year.
Speaking of Kentucky, got a text in the show. Pretty sure he's texting the wrong show. He says, hey, guys, I want to go to the SEC tournament for the first time this year. Any tips on getting tickets? Want to make sure I get all 3 UK games. Here's your tip. Don't go.
Check with the Tennessee Athletic Office.
They own everything, Kentucky.
No, I know nothing about the SEC other than to say Google it.
Surely that had to be for Kentucky roll call.
Yeah, but that cracks me up. That reminds me of a lot of messages I see on Facebook from people, or I get messages from people, and I don't mind getting messages. Matter of fact, it reminded me to thank Jeff. Jeff, just a great listener of the show, lives up in Frankfort, Indiana. This text was messaging me at 2 in the morning when I'm driving. So what makes, man, how are the roads down there? Well, be safe and let me know when you get home. Just being very nice. So thanks a lot, Jeff. Appreciate that. It was rough driving there last night, middle of the night. But I get messages from people. Is the game on TV? What time's the game start?
You not got Google?
I'm like, so apparently you have internet capabilities because you're messaging me, and the same amount of time that you take to ask me that question, you could have just typed that into Google.
Actually, probably way less.
Yeah.
Because they got to sit there and wait for a response.
Actually, all you do is there's a button on your phone that you can say,
Indiana
Google,
basketball.
what time is Indiana basketball game tonight? Or whatever the question may be. I see it all the time. I'm like, why do people post questions on Facebook like that?
Right.
It's like, just Google it.
Text into the show, 502-414-1450. That number, Josh says, is there more ice outside right now or on Marquette's rims last night?
Well, it wasn't. I don't know if it was the rims. It was the Redwood Forest that they were trying to shoot out of. Indiana just made life very difficult for Marquette. They didn't get much clean. And they got some good. This is the team that's picked to finish second in the Big East, which is behind Villanova. But, of course.
That may need to be flip-flopped.
Why? You think Marquette's better than Villanova?
Well, I think Indiana's better than Michigan.
How do you know? Why do you think that?
Guess I don't.
You don't? I don't know that. I'm not saying that. Michigan went to the championship game last year, son. They just beat the defending national champions' ass.
Michigan's a product of such good coaching.
Well,
doesn't matter what they have on their team. John Beilein's going to get it done.
And that is a dangerous team.
Yeah.
A well-coached team is a fundamentally sound team. A fundamentally sound team is a dangerous team. And they just whipped the defending national champions' ass last night. I think that, like I said, Nebraska is another team. They beat Seton Hall by, 23? Big Ten's going to get rough. Michigan State, Michigan, Indiana, and Nebraska, Wisconsin. I'll tell you right now, there's no way Purdue makes the NCAA tournament now. No way.
I could see them making the tournament.
No way.
I think there's no way they're finishing in the top 3 of the Big Ten.
Oh, I don't see them finishing in the top 6.
If they do, it'll be number 6.
Exactly. That is the absolute highest they can dream to aspire. Because I don't know that they can do that. You've got Michigan State, Michigan, Indiana, and Nebraska. Now you got to talk about Wisconsin. Wisconsin's going to be better than Purdue. Maryland, what's Maryland got? Aren't they supposed to be decent?
Yeah, that's a great question.
That's 7 teams. I haven't talked about Ohio State yet. I think they're down a little bit. But, yeah, Purdue is, I don't see them making the tournament. Said that a long time ago. They're a one-man band. You got Carson Edwards and Harms.
Harms ain't been playing that well, though.
He's being exposed. He looked good last year because he had a lot of talent around him. Indiana will sweep that series. They're going to go into West Lafayette and manhandle Purdue, I think.
You're probably right there. Tim texts in the show, says, how about Romeo? He probably won a few game awards last night.
He probably did. There were plenty to hand out, but he certainly stood above the rest as leading scorer of the game, 22 points. And like I said, just wheeling baskets in, just getting to the hoop. You can't stop him. I mean, they couldn't. They certainly couldn't stop him. You go 1 for 5 at the three-point line, and you still score 22 points?
It's a good night.
Yeah. If he had a couple of those drop down, dude could have went for 30.
Yeah.
Thank
and it looked like for a little bit he was going to. He kind of hit a groove there late in the first half.
If Romeo wanted to score 30, if he wanted to do some James Blackman, trust me, he could hang 30 any night he wants almost. Yeah. I'm not going to say any night because there are some damn good teams out there. And it's yet to be seen how going through the Big Ten and all that. But generally, if he wanted to score 30 and to do that, and I'm not saying he's not going to this year within the framework of the team, but I think right now he would almost, either have to have that superb shooting night, which he did not have last night, or just make a conscious effort to do it. But he's doing this while staying within the framework of this team and not disrupting this team. And that is magical. That is synchronization.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We know Romeo can put up points. I mean, we saw it throughout his high school career. But that was, like you said, almost he had to do that. At Indiana, he doesn't have to do that. So I agree with he can, but I agree with you. The fact that he's just sitting back, getting his teammates involved, not trying to be the man, that speaks volumes for the type of player that Romeo is.
Dude's a scorer, man. Unselfish scorer.
Yeah.
There's
There's not very many unselfish scorers around.
Indiana's an unselfish team.
Which will be huge in the long run.
Absolutely. They're only going to get better. Their defense is in midseason form right now. They are clamping down on people. They did it with Chicago, Loyola. And one of the things Archie was asked last night was about point guard play. When that he knew that he had good point guard play. And he said he knew that from the start, from his Loyola Chicago game, that he thought that they could be really good at that position. And I think that it was the first time he got to see Fennessy against people not in an Indiana uniform. So you can't really tell quite as much when you're going against your own guys as you get out on the floor against a different team that's running their own stuff, where you're not controlling that other side. But he said he knew that they could be good then.
Tom texted into the show, 502-414-1450, that number once again. Said, thought a few times if they just spread 4 wide, Romeo could just go one-on-one.
He could.
Yeah.
He could all the time. If he wanted to do that, like I said, he could just – now, they would probably be able to throw some gimmick defense in after a minute, but I think they could come down the floor 3 times in a row and just, like you said, just go 4 wide, spread them out, clear out. Romeo one-on-one. You ain't stopping him. Yeah. You might, but you're going to foul him.
Tim says, first time I ever saw Romeo stop and stare and flex at the end of a shot before last night.
He's going to find himself is what he's going to do. And if he does that, earlier we had a text asking if we thought Romeo was still looking for his role. No, but you know what? That I think that he's still looking for himself as a college basketball player.
Yeah.
And once he is fully indoctrinated into whatever that is for him and he's not thinking, he's just reacting. Right now he's still thinking sometimes. All of them are because they're all still learning. A lot of new stuff for him. I mean, I've said this before, Romeo came from a great high school program. Jim Shannon's got a great winning program. But it doesn't matter because when you go up to this next level, you still got more learning. You got things that you weren't taught, that you didn't have to learn before because you were the guy. Now you're one of the guys. One of the guys, but still of many, multiple. Hit us up on the text line, 502-414-1450. You guys have been killing it today. It's awesome.
May have a record.
Love the interaction. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up on Indiana Sports Beat. Hopefully Terry Hutchins is not frozen in somewhere. We got plenty more coming back here on Indiana Sports Beat right after this. Stay tuned.
This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat.
Welcome back into Indiana Sports Beat here on this frozen tundra Thursday, November 15th. Cold and frozen outside. Just saw Nick Roush from Kentucky Roll Call sitting outside. Awful early, but I don't have electricity. I'm like, I feel your pain, brother.
Yeah, 73,000 power outages in Louisville alone.
Well, I'm in Indiana, and we definitely lots of power outages.
It's pretty nasty when that ice freezes on the poles.
Dude, I pull in, like I said, at 2:40 in the morning last night. All I could do is barely get into the driveway, and I've got to get out and lumberjack a big old tree limb, frozen tree limb, with it cased in ice. I'm like, out there, it's freezing, it's whatever it was. It was no fun.
At least it didn't fall on a truck.
It sounds like shotguns going off all the time out there because
the
trees are just pop, pop, pop. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks a lot for joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. Big win for the Hoosiers last night up at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Indiana took on the Marquette Golden Eagles, ranked 24th, and just thoroughly dispatched them quite easily. Final score 96-73. 5 players in double figures for Indiana, of course, led by Romeo Langford's 22 points. Big night for him, but a big night for Indiana as they thoroughly dominated the 24th ranked Golden Eagles from the opening bell. Indiana had a 19-4 lead early, and that just did not stop. At one point, the lead was up to 28 points with about 3 minutes to go in the game. And then the subs came in, and they eroded that lead a little bit, got it down to 23. Not much, though.
Damn subs.
Dominating win by Indiana. Dominating win by the Big Ten last night.
Yeah.
In the Gavitt games as Michigan. A replay of the national championship game from last season. The Wolverines took on Villanova. Villanova currently ranked 8th. Michigan was 18th. And they pretty much handled Villanova the way Indiana handled Marquette last night. As always, we're joined now by Terry Hutchins, CNI Papers, 20-year veteran of the Hoosiers. Terry, how are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you this morning?
Frozen, my friend. Frozen. It's a frozen tundra out there.
Yeah, it is pretty nasty.
Absolutely, but it was certainly warm and toasty at Assembly Hall last night as Indiana, with one of their best performances in quite some time, a dominating win over Marquette. Great performance on both ends of the floor, Terry.
You know, it's one of those things where I think there's a lot of people that were hopeful that those 40-point wins over Chicago State and Montana State really meant something. You never know if they do or not. And I think in the back of everyone's mind it was, you've got Marquette and Arkansas and Louisville and Butler and Duke coming up in the non-conference portion of the season, you're going to find out what kind of team you really have. If people are wondering what kind of team they had before last night, you have to figure that right now they think they got a pretty good team.
Yeah, and that's all being done with 4 guys that are integral part of this team not even getting to play right now, that are injured on the sideline. So Archie down to an 8-man rotation at the moment, but a rotation that worked pretty daggone well last night.
Well, too, and you were in the post-game as well as I was, Jim, and the way he answered that question, he said something to the effect of, there's some positives about that too, because, you've got guys, you're thin, obviously, and, the whole foul trouble thing last night could have gotten worse. It started to get kind of bad as it was. But, the thing, though, is that when you have all these other guys that all of a sudden are going to get more playing time than they thought they were, that's what these guys want to do. And these guys want to play. They're getting an opportunity. And, as long as you've got 7, 8, 9 guys that you can have a pretty formidable rotation with, I think that, you're probably okay for now. Is it a long-term thing that you really want? Of course not. But, it's going to make it interesting in December when Devontae Green and Zach McRoberts and Race Thompson for sure all come back, and then who knows how long it's going to be on Jerome Hunter. But I think that it's going to make for a very competitive situation when those guys come back, and then we'll see how all those guys are able to get integrated back into the lineup.
Yeah, it's it maybe it pose some difficulties because you get this rotation going, and last night they were pretty smooth with it. Everybody in that 8-man rotation contributed in a positive way, and then you get to that point where, am I going to disrupt that, or how are you going to ease these guys into that? And especially at that time of year, you're getting close to Big Ten play, when you hope you're starting to really gel as a team. But they looked good last night defensively. I really wondered what they were going to be like on the perimeter, because Marquette known as a good shooting team, obviously, with Marcus Howard. And, well, he had handcuffs on for most of the night.
Yeah, he really did. And, I thought some of, Wojciechowski's comments from Marquette after the game talked about, when you're going against that Indiana defense, it's not something you're going to be successful with one pass or 2 passes or whatever. You need a lot of ball rotation and a lot of movement. And that's what we saw last night was, when they were, settling, if you will, and maybe trying to do too much one-on-one kind of play, I thought that kind of fed right into Indiana's hands. And, back to your earlier point, though, about, the rotation and ultimately when you're trying to get those guys, integrated again back into the system, I'll tell you one thing. If Archie can find a way to get through this next little stretch of games without, too much damage, and he's able to get into the month of December with, little damage, I would think that it's a great problem to have. It's a problem that any coach would want to have, that when you have that kind of talent, and then you have to figure out a way to be the maestro and to orchestrate it and get the most out of your team.
Absolutely. Terry Hutchins, a veteran beat writer for the Hoosiers, been covering for 20 years. And Rob Phinisee just continues to impress with his seasoned, savvy, veteran-type play as a freshman.
He does everything, and that's the whole thing when you look at him. He's not like a one-dimensional player. He's not a scorer who can't play defense. He's not somebody that is only looking get his own shot, but not looking to pass the ball. He does it all. He had 8 assists last night. He had 1 turnover. He did a great job on Marcus Howard, which, we've talked about, who, Archie said after the game, is a guy who will be a candidate for Big East Player of the Year. And if you look at Marcus Howard's game last night, he had 9 points until about the 7-minute mark of the game, when that game was well out of hand, and he got some mop-up points at the end to finish with 18. But, Finney does a great job on him there. Again, he distributes the ball really well. And then we saw some really nifty moves out of him. He knocks down a corner 3. The guy can do it all, and we're talking about a player who has just played the 3rd game of his college career. And you're talking about a player unlike somebody like Romeo, who you think will probably be in the program for a while, and that whole point right there has to have Indiana fans pretty excited.
Absolutely. And then you look at this the play, and you add him to Al Durham last night. They were spectacular together as a duo. You mentioned the 1 turnover. That's the only turnover between those two guys, and they had 13 assists between them. And they both contributed in double figures scoring. So, man, if you're getting that kind of a play out of your point, that is a huge help to any game.
Well, and the thing with Durham is, people kind of forget that here's a kid that didn't play in the opener because he was hurt, hadn't played a lot in the exhibition season, was just kind of getting back his feet underneath him for the Montana State game, and now this was his real first full action kind of game. And you're right. I like some of the things he did. I think he's made some big strides from last year just in creating his shot and finding a way to get into the right place to hoist up that little 15-foot jumper in the lane, or to drive and dish, or to drive and take the ball to the basket. I think that, again, to your point, having them together as a tandem, and then at some point adding Devontae Green into that mix too. You've got a real you have potential there for some great point guard play, and that's something that Indiana really hasn't had since Yogi graduated a few years ago.
Absolutely, and as a team, they're playing pretty unselfishly, and they're doing so early in the year, which defensively they look like they're in midseason form, but they're really playing well together as a team. No one seems like they're stepping outside of the team and forcing any issues. I'm not saying there's not a shot that maybe here or there that's not should have been taken, but overall they are really playing as a unit.
Yeah, I agree with that. And what you're seeing is, I think there was, a feeling coming in that, and it may have just been in the back of people's minds that, here comes Romeo Langford, the superstar player who, is going to get his points and maybe not share. I think all this unselfishness begins with Romeo, and the fact that, he has from the start made it clear that he was going to get other guys involved. I think that really has become contagious very quickly. And now you got other guys wanting to make that extra pass, get the layup. We saw it a couple of different times last night with guys being the beneficiary of that, whether it was Juwan Morgan or Justin Smith. Evan Fitzner, who I've been saying from the start that Evan Fitzner was going to be the key to this team, and he has certainly proved to be that guy so far. He was 6 for 7 from the field last night, made all 4 of his three-point shots, made some big three-point shots at times when they needed that big bucket. And that's clearly what Indiana basketball hasn't had the last couple of years, is a guy on the perimeter that can also go inside and do those kinds of things. I think Evan Fitzner is going to be a a huge piece of this puzzle.
I could not agree with you more, Terry. He offers by himself offers so many problems to an opposing team, because here you got a guy that's 6'11" that can play the post as he did last night on some moves, but he can step out and knock down the three as he did 4-4 last night as well. So he is just an anomaly. He is something that the opposing coaches have got to say, well, how do you defend this guy? Is he going to play the post, or is he going to step on the perimeter and knock down threes?
Well, and the other thing there is, we sometimes tend to forget these things when, you pick up a fifth-year grad transfer like that, who was very successful at his previous program at St. Mary's in California. But how do they feel? Indiana is the beneficiary of this great player coming in for 1 year to do all these things. How does St. Mary's feel? You got to think that, they got to miss him big time this year. And I don't know if that was a situation with the coaching staff or what, or why he really wanted to leave, or the different things. But, boy, that's turned out to be a major, major get for Indiana basketball.
Absolutely. It was a piece that, and I think you mentioned it in the press conference last night, but it's a piece that they just didn't have last year, actually in a couple ways. But the shooting alone, he's just such a solid, dependable figure, and we knew he had a 42% shooting percentage coming in, but that's just on paper. And until you see it reveal itself, and he did last night. He definitely introduced himself and made himself known.
I just like the way he is around the basket, too. He has such a nice, soft touch inside, and it just seems like whenever he gets the ball in a scoring position, you just have that feeling like something good is about to happen. And again, successful Indiana teams in the past have had guys like that, whether it was Jordan Hulls or Matt Roth or people like that who, when that ball was going up and they got in rhythm, you just really felt like there was a good chance it was going down. You can go back years before that to that 2002 team, and you had guys like Kyle Hornsby, even Dane Fife, or even Coverdale. You had guys that were capable of getting in that rhythm and knocking down shots. And that's really what I've been impressed with so far with a guy like Evan Fitzner. And then it seems like you've got a couple of guys that can get hot like that. Again, we're talking 3 games in. It's way early, but I think last night, I don't know if it was a coming out party for a young basketball team, but I think it certainly gave people the feeling that this could be a special year.
Could not agree more. Terry Hutchins, I could not thank you enough. Appreciate you coming on with us.
All right, Jim. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Terry Hutchins from CNHI Papers. If he's not in your papers, he should be, so ask your editor for that. But they're grateful to have Terry along. He's a 20-year beat writer for the Hoosiers. He's seen about as much as anything from many coaches, but many different programs, and he knows what he's talking about. And man, it's going to be an exciting year. The Big Ten as a whole looked very good last night, so I think it's going to be a very exciting season for us. But that's going to wrap it up for us today. We'll be back tomorrow. I think we're going to have Todd Leary on. We're talking more basketball. We'll preview the Arkansas game coming up this weekend. Stay dry, stay warm. Until then, for Justin Caleb, I'm Jim Coyle, and I'll see you on the radio.